everyone, this is Nikachu, and I am here through satellite with Andrew Day 2 Dryden. And if you want to find out how the new cards in Dominaria is going to affect modern Burn, well, you just sit tight because that's what we're going to talk about, isn't it?
I'm really excited, yeah. There's going to be a whole bunch of cards to go through here, but I don't know. I'm not super confident in how they're going to perform, but we'll get to that in just a minute, I guess. No spoilers here.
But just out of curiosity, what does Burn want? Like, what is the thing that they're always praying for that gets printed?
You know what? I guess the big thing right now that I would want is any kind of utility cards. You know, the sideboard's full of things like Rest in Peace, things like that you're trying to use as utility cards. There was a card that was printed in Khans of Tarkir, I think, called Burn Away, and I loved that card. The problem is it was like 5 or 6 mana. I was just like...
That's always the problem. There's a lot of great cards out there. Oh, Venser, if only you could cost 2, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It was great. It was like deal damage to the player and like exile their graveyard or something. Or like the creatures in there, something like that. And it was awesome. But I was like, just make this like 2 damage and like 3 mana. Like, this would be amazing. But... it's like 5 damage and 6 mana. Anyway. So it's anything like that. Any sort of angle where we can maybe squeeze extra damage in, or anything that like does damage plus, right?
Right.
Because that kind of has to be the baseline, or it has to be like a huge powerful effect, like Rest in Peace, or mainly Rest in Peace. That's the main one that's being run right now. Or like Grafdigger's Cage. Like any sort of really anything that's going to stop anything that's really broken that can outrace Burn. That's kind of the cards you're willing to sacrifice damage for.
All right, so do we have anything like that in Dominaria?
No.
Well, we're off to a bad start.
Yeah, there's not too many.
Okay, so what could even potentially have potential?
Well, yeah, so anything that's 4 mana or above or anything like that, it's kind of like an automatic okay. Like, so no, not even. So anything that sort of even somewhat piques my attention. The first card we're going to look at is Flame of Keld. It's one of these saga cards. So that was the first thing. I was like, okay. This
2 mana enchantments. Let's talk. Yeah, so...
it's on the screen. The viewers can see it?
Oh, yeah, everyone can see it.
Okay. Yeah, so the first thing that piqued my eye is, okay, it's like a different kind of card. Maybe this is like a different angle. You know, it like gives us more options to work with. The problem is that it's...
let's talk about the card. It's Flame of Keld, a red and a colorless. So it's a saga card, so for when it enters the battlefield, and then for each at your draw step, is it?
When it comes in, you do the first thing, and then right after your draw step, you do the other things. So when it comes in, step 1, discard your hand. Which, you know what, I mean, that's not the biggest deal in the world. You know, hopefully, if you got stuck on maybe 2 lands, you've got a bunch of Boros Charms and stuff in your hand, you might not have that many cards in your hand to begin with. So, like, that's not the biggest deal in the world. But you really want to cast this with, you know, a land or nothing else in your hand, you know, when you do it. You know, so that's not horrible, but...
then we get to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, and then draw 2 cards, and then, which is actually... So you're casting this, you're emptying your hand, and then next turn, you're going to have 3 cards in your hand. Right. Because you go draw step, draw, and then draw 2. So you're going to go from 0 to 3.
You're making it sound good.
Right, well, and that's the thing, right? It's like, okay, it's kind of almost maybe, right?
3 cards is pretty good in Burn.
That is pretty good,
2 out of 3 of them will be a Burn spell.
That's not bad, and it's like, hypothetically, you know, you can make an argument that it's almost like a suspended divination, you know what I mean? It's almost like you could kind of make that argument for 1 less, but in red. So anyway, but this is why I was actually kind of looking at it and had to think about it for a minute or two. But it's the problem then is that step 3 just doesn't really do much. Like it does. Sorry,
if a red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or a player this turn, it deals that much damage plus 2 to that permanent or player instead.
Right, so you know your bolts deal 5, your goblin guides deal 4, your lavamancers deal 4. It's pretty good. I think the big problem with this though is that by the time you've already emptied your hand, and by the time you've cast this card, and by the time you've now maybe like. Because if you want to draw these 3 cards and then take advantage of the 3rd step of the saga, that means you're basically taking a turn off almost. You know what I mean?
Not only that, you've also emptied your hand at the prior to that. So, like, if you have a handful of gas and you want to do 40 damage to your opponent, well, you have to actually empty your hand first, then play this thing, then wait a turn.
Yeah.
And then wait another turn.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got kind of some neat modes, and it does some kind of things that Burn's okay with doing and, like, kind of wants to be able to do in red. But, I mean, I would just... It just kind of... It's a bunch of sort of dancing around, and I would call it sort of too slow and situational, and it's not a win more card. I think it's a lose more card. You know, I mean, yeah, you could hypothetically Hail Mary, you know, the odd game that you'd have no business winning, but I think more often than not, if this ends up in your hand, you're going to end up losing a game that you should have won. So,
well,
that's...
Just a question. So this card looks like it might be useful if the game goes really long. Are there any... And has life gain. Because I think the third mode can help fight through life gain very well. So are there any matchups that go long and there's life gain involved? Like, they just naturally go long. You're not really trying to win the game immediately.
I thought about that too. The problem is maybe in standard or something. Like, I'm not speaking about standard. This is strictly about modern.
Yeah.
I mean, modern's so powerful and fast, not really. You know, like, traditionally one of the games that used to go a little bit longer was something like Jund, you know, where there's like, okay, Inquisition, take your card, you know, take up Liliana, pass, and then that happens like 3 or 4 times or something or whatever, you know, with some life gain mixed in. But now, with like Bloodbraid and Goyfs and stuff running around, I mean, you're on maybe a 2-turn clock. Like, once you've emptied your hand, once you've gotten out of this card what you want to get out of this card, I don't see most decks giving you more than a turn or 2 at most. Like, so I don't even know if you'll get to the third step of this thing.
Right.
You know, or if they're gaining a ton of life, like, I mean, I guess Soul Sisters or something is probably like the biggest deck that does that. You know, if you're not already sort of going to win, then they're going to be at like 35 life. And
sure.
Like 10 cards in hand plus 2 damage and things like that. So, like, it's real close.
And Soul Sisters might not even give you the 3 turns.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's... so I mean, it's close, and it's I kind of like what it's doing. I know I like this design. I really like it as a card. I really like it. But I don't think
very fancy.
It's very fancy. It is very fancy. It does some
It'll
cool
keep
stuff.
you at home though.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Protect the campfire.
That's. I do like that music. So.
All right. So what's our next card?
So the next one I wanted to look at was the Lava Runner.
Sorry,
I'm wrong. That's Chain Whirler. My mistake.
Chain Whirler. Oh, let's look at Chain Whirler. Which is the only one that I intuitively thought would be playable in Modern.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's triple red is the reason I really wanted to look at it, because this is a deck that can do that, right? We basically can't run.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Basically can't run.
No one's playing this but us.
Yeah, exactly, right? Or goblins or something, right? I mean, that's obvious. It's a goblin creature. It's, but...
Goblins might actually play this.
Yeah,
I gotta bring on the goblin experts I need to bring on the goblin expert and ask them about Goblin Chain Whirler.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. And the thing about this card is that it kind of does what we talked about at the start of the video. It does something that you kind of want. It's got like a Plasma effect, I'll call it like an electrickery effect.
Yeah.
You know, like it's got a sweeper effect, which is something that you want, right? Mm-hmm. Against a lot of matchups. You know, if you cast this, if Elves doesn't have a too crazy of a turn and you just drop this, you know, you can just 4-for-1 them or something, maybe, plus deal them a damage.
This is good against Merfolk.
Yeah, it could be.
It hits Silver Gill Adept, it hits Curse Catcher, it hits Master of Waves, most importantly. I remember...
Branchwalker?
No, Master of Waves.
No. Yes. Well, with a Skullcrack effect, yes.
Well, no. I mean all the tokens.
Yes.
Because I remember Blue-Red Delver used to side in Electrickery against me, with good effect, because I would make this Master of Waves with a bunch of tokens, and it was their only way to fight all the tokens. And it did. Like, I suddenly I don't have lethal on the board anymore.
Yeah, and then you violin the second Master Waves and make them 3/2s.
Yeah, sure. Where's your Electrickery now?
Yeah. So and then they cast a second one, and then we cry. So, but this card, I mean, it's not bad, right? It's a 3/3 for 3, a little bit light in Modern, but I mean, there's cards that do that, whatever. It has first strike. That's a big deal.
Makes up for the 3/3.
I beg your pardon?
Makes up for being a 3/3.
Yeah, exactly. And then it does this sort of electricity kind of effect. I think the problem with this card though is that like it's a creature, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's a creature without haste. You know, it doesn't. There are a lot of like it's a sideboard card at best. I think is the other way to put it, right? Like you're using this maybe instead of a Pyroclasm
for sure,
electricity effect. But I just don't think it's the kind of card Burn is looking for. Because there are sweepers and things already around, and it doesn't sort of necessarily get the main game plan of like bolt to the face, spell to the face. This feels more like a zoo or like a goblins card, which is it's very playable in those. I mean, it's even playable in Burn, but if you're looking for this kind of an effect against like a sort of a wide creature deck, I think something that you might want to go with is like something like Rampaging Ferostodon.
Okay.
It's also I think it's a 3/3 for 3, but it's got Menace, not First Strike, which is arguably better.
Yep.
It deals damage when creatures come in, so it and players can't gain life. So it's
right. So it's competing with the dinosaur banned in Standard.
Right. So I think this card is playable and it's not a bad card, but I think if you're already not running Ferostodon in your deck, then you're not going to this card yet, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is sort of the understudy to something like a Ferostodon effect. That's how I would put that. So it's not a bad card, but I don't see it seeing play in Burn either, unfortunately.
All right. So next card up.
Lava Runner. Get to Lava Runner, I believe it is. When I looked at the Wizard site, these were all alphabetical, and now I'm trying to find it here. Get to Lava Runner. Yes. So, at its ceiling, it's a Goblin Guide.
Right.
And at its floor...
Well, tell us about Get to Lava Runner.
Yeah, so it's a 1 mana 1/2, but, this is the important part, if you've got sort of Spell Mastery, if anyone remembers that, but if you've got 2 or more instants and or sorceries in your graveyard, it gets +1/+0 and haste.
Right.
So it becomes a human wizard Goblin Guide, basically. Now, like it's and so like when you think, Goblin Guide, like that's an automatic 4-up. Like you are
sure.
Like you are always playing this almost on turn 1 if this is your play, right? Like like this is facsimile of the best card in the deck. Like how can this not be in, right? Sadly, no. The fact that it doesn't come down on turn 1. The fact that you sort of need to do work, and it's not too hard. I mean, you can get 2 or more instants and sorceries in your deck on turn 2, right? You go turn 1 Bolt, or Suspend a Rift Bolt, or any of that kind of stuff. Any 1 mana play that isn't a creature, and second turn, drop a second land, do it again, play this guy, attack for 2, right? Like it's very possible to get going by turn 2.
Yeah, but he doesn't have haste.
But he doesn't. Well, he does if you've got the 2. If you've got the 2 instants or sorceries.
Right.
He's got haste on turn 2.
Sorry, yeah, he doesn't have haste on turn 1.
Yeah.
Which is what Goblin Guide is so famous for.
Right. Like if this thing had haste always, you know what? Maybe, because then you could argue that it's the same as a Swift Spear on turn 1.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. This thing would be disgusting. It's like a Swift Spear that permanently has prowess.
But can't get higher than 2. But yeah, exactly.
Can't get higher than 2, but won't go lower than 2.
Yeah, exactly. So there are times when by turn 2 I don't even have 2 cards in my graveyard. For Grim Lavamancer, let alone 2 instants or sorceries. You know what I mean? Like even with fetch lands and stuff, sometimes you don't have that. So I think there's that in and of itself should be an obvious enough answer for why it's good, but. Basically what it's doing is it's a strict downgrade from every other creature in the deck.
Right.
So like, maybe if you're on like a budget, or maybe like I don't know enough about Pauper, but this is a common. A turn 2 Goblin Guide in Pauper might be good enough. Like I'm not familiar enough with the format to say that with any certainty, but like
Pauper's probably excited.
Yeah,
they're waiting for it. The closest thing they could get to Goblin Guide.
Yeah, right. Like what else do you give them? It's almost I don't know.
I actually didn't notice that. It's a common. This is ridiculous. This is super...
Yeah.
Like, it's a strict downgrade from Goblin Guide, or Swift Spear, but it's not very far.
No.
It's not very far. You would think that this could be uncommon. No, this is common.
Yeah, expect to see this in your draft pods, people, because this card is a good aggressive card.
And then you look to the left, well, at least on on this Mythic Spoiler, you've got Eviscerate, which is a 4-mana destroy target creature spell. You know?
Yeah,
at sorcery speed.
There's a few more. There's I've got the same side. You got Shivan Fire. You got Warlord's Fury. That might be it. Please don't be it.
They really pushed. They really pushed this Lava Runner down to common.
Yeah, So anyway, again, good card, like a good design. It's a great card, but
great picture. Love that picture.
I like the image actually. I think that's good. I like that.
Very colorful. Solid.
Yeah, who did it? Oh, okay. I thought it might have been Mark Tedden or something. I thought it had kind of a lava spike look to it with the swirl on it. Yeah, the art's solid.
Andrew Day to Dryden, huge fan of Mark Tedden.
I'm a huge fan of Mark Tedden. That guy's awesome. I love my lava spikes. Those are my favorite cards I own. I've ever gone to. It's like, he and I should just start like getting together for drinks every time we go to a GP. But yeah, no, he's a good guy.
So what's next up?
I've got Radiating Lightning. Again, it's a damage. Sorry, okay, we'll talk about it. So it's a 4-mana instant, 3 generic and a red. You know, instant good, 4 mana. Okay, this better do something good.
It has to do something amazing, right?
Yeah, it has to be like deal 6 damage or something like that, right? Like. Which hypothetically you could argue it does, like depending on the board state, but it deals Radiating Lightning deals 3 damage to target play. Wait, what? Why doesn't it say player or planeswalker?
Doesn't it? No, because it's specifically to players. See, that's the thing now. It's not any target. Now they can be very specific. So this cannot touch planeswalkers.
Okay, so okay, I thought everything that could hit a player or planeswalker. I didn't realize that only the old ones got errated. Okay.
Yeah, the old ones. I learned something. Well, because the old ones, you could always hit planeswalkers, and now they're being very specific what can or cannot hit a planeswalker.
That's a corner case I didn't realize going forward. I only looked back, right? Okay, so anyway, Radiating Lightning deals 3 damage to target player, and 1 damage to each creature that player controls. So we've got like another sort of, electricity effect. This is fantastic, right? And it doesn't, and it's not like on a body. It's, it's a spell. It hits the face. This is awesome. The problem is the mana cost. The problem is for 4 mana.
How often do you hit 4 mana?
Me? All the time. I flat out.
This card is for you.
Yeah.
Jam 4 of them.
Well, for 4 mana, I'd rather cast a Tasigur or something, to be honest, or cast my last card and then hit Flame of Keld. But
Chandra or something.
Yeah. So, so it's a bit much. I really like the card, but for 4 mana, like it's just not good enough. It honestly, if this thing were, and it's an instant, which is also great, but if this thing were a sorcery and only cost 2 mana. I think it'd see play. I think that'd be good enough, at least as a sideboard card. But
2 even mana, it's like it's an upgraded electricity, I think.
Yes, except electricity is an instant, which is why I like even as a sorcery, this would be good enough.
You're that wizards, you dumb it down to sorcery and cost 2 mana, and Andrew Day to Dryden is in.
Yeah, I'd be so down with that. Why don't I work for Wizards? I would just make Burn the best card. I would make it the best.
Just push Burn.
Just push Burn and Merfolk. Just everything. It'd be so great. Yeah, be like, where'd all the green cards go? We didn't print any of this set.
or you intentionally sabotage them all. You know what? I think this 4 mana card is a little too OP. We got to make it 5 mana.
Yeah.
I think this is too pushed. I think we have to at least get rid of life gain on this card.
Yeah. Exactly. Does this white card really need to gain life? That seems like a red effect. Let's give that to red. Yeah. So Radiating Lightning, close but no cigar. Sorry, we're like, what is this? 1, 2, 3. We're 0 for 4 in my opinion at the moment, unfortunately. And usually it's all due to the mana cost, which, again, we're playing an Eternal format. I don't think that should surprise anyone, but, So yeah. I don't know. Is that relatively straight? You're up to speed on?
Oh yeah. Okay, so what do we have next?
This is the last red card. This is like the red card. Everybody was, and some people on the internet are probably still going, "Oh no, we're gonna make this work. It's gonna be great." It's Wizards Lightning. So they reprinted Lightning Bolt in Standard, everyone. They reprinted it. We get to run 8 copies of Lightning Bolt now. It's fantastic. Oh, wait.
Or maybe like 12 copies, you know, because you have Lava Spike.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's fair. But yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Wizards Lightning, 3 mana, instant speed, 2 generic and a red. Wizards Lightning deals 3 damage to any target.
Right.
But it only costs 2 less if you control a wizard. Well,
you have Swiftspear.
Swiftspear is a human monk.
Oh no! Okay,
I know, right? I don't know. Wait a second.
I would think that you know what? If I were on Jeopardy, I would say, what is Swiftspear?
Yeah, and you kind of think that because it's got that kind of ability, right? It's no, it's a monk. It's like a monastery mentor in that respect, not like, I don't know, Storm Age or all the other things that have prowess and are red and stuff like that. So, yeah, in Burn, the only cards that get run that are wizards is Grim Lavamancer. And it's like a 2-of. So
at best.
And like, even if you built your deck around this thing, like, you know what? Like, this could maybe see play in some kind of like a blue-red prowess list or something, like something kind of like sort of a home brew or something. But in Standard Burn, like, there's just no way to really, you know, like, your Goblin Scout and your Human Monk and your Spirit creatures, all of which are the creatures the deck runs right now, are not going to make this a playable card. And at 3, it's not even like it's 2 mana otherwise. It's 3 mana. So it's not even like, okay, well, you know, at least it's strike, you know, at worst. No, this thing is I don't know, Searing Spear or like whatever the heck these other cards are called once you get up to like 3 mana. Like it's not. It's just not playable without some serious.
It's a 3 mana deal 3 damage spell. You've got a million of those at 2 mana.
Yeah, exactly. There's a million. There's a semi decent amount at 1. There's a bunch at 2. At 3, it's like, come on, get out of here. What are you doing? So, you know, I mean, hey, maybe someone could build around this, but in Burn, in like Modern, I don't see this being good enough, unfortunately. So
I don't think anyone can even build around this.
Yeah, well, exactly right. You'd have to. I saw something online recently. Someone was building like Delver, blue-red Delver stuff around it. The problem is,
right? Yeah, okay.
Problem is, I don't know if you're aware of this. If you think about it, only the front side of Delver is a wizard. The other side is like an insect horror.
He loses his wizardry.
Delver, get in there. You know? So it's like...
He forgot how to harness lightning.
Yeah, right? Or it's like, okay, better cast my wizard's lightning right now before it flips in my upkeep. Which, I mean, hey, that's a play, I guess. But it's a bit loose. So, nope, sadly not. So, yeah. And in terms of all the red cards, 2, 3, 4... There's only 5 that I thought maybe even kind of looked... like worth talking about, and we're 0 for 5. Sorry, people. Sorry for those of you who are hoping for a big new bomb in Dominaria, because it's not coming. There's one more card, though, that I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
It's a colorless card. It's, you know, the card that everybody's been talking about. It's Wizards... Sorry, not Wizards Lightning. We just talked about that. Why can't I find it here? Oh, here it is. Damping Sphere.
Yeah, Damping Sphere. Does Damping Sphere have a place in Burn? Does it help Burn?
No.
Obviously. So
again,
it's good against Tron. It's good against Storm.
Yep.
Do you have any problems with these?
No, these are both very good matchups.
All right.
Tron is the kind of deck that just sort of durdles, tries to get its wheels going by turn 3, and by then they might be dead. You know, Storm is a traditionally great matchup. You know, you do not need this card against either of those decks. And even if you did want a Tron card or a Storm card, like there's so many other options that you don't need for this. Like it's narrow. It's not narrow, but it's
fixing matchups you don't need it fixing.
And even if it were bad matchups, it's not doing enough. You know what I mean? Like it's
doesn't
not
fit your game plan.
Damage. Yeah, it's and people also have been telling me that this will be good against burn. I pray people bring this in against burn. This is not a good burn. Like, this is not a good card against burn.
You're in a lot of trouble if you play this on turn 2.
You're going to take your turn 2 off.
Yeah.
And play this, and I'm just going to keep getting in with my Swift Spears and Goblin Guides, or I'm just going to continue to unload my hand.
Right.
You know, and like even like, so the mana ability is completely useless. Obviously, like that's the first bit. The first paragraph does nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing against burn. The second part, people are like, oh, we'll tax them. No, it's not how this works. Because what will happen is that you're going to play this. Player is going to go, okay, untap. I'm going to Lava Spike you. Take 3. I'm only going to pay 1. And they're going to pass the turn if they've got nothing better to do, right? And they're going to pass the turn, and you're going to untap, and then they're going to lightning bolt you, and still only pay 1 mana.
Yeah, like, so they can still play 2 spells per. I don't know, each player's turn. Yeah, they just separate it on each player's turn. Yeah. You play a spell on your turn, you play a spell on their turn.
It might take a little more dancing around, but you basically time walked yourself, you know, on turn 2, or you spent half your turn on turn 4.
That's catastrophic.
Yeah,
pay
it's
2 mana, put this lemon in play, and then get your face kicked in by at least 7 damage, maybe more.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not. It's horrible. I really hope people bring this in against burn, because it will increase my win rate. It will increase all of our win rates. So, yeah. I don't think this sees play in burn. I mean, who knows? Maybe another archetype could come up. Maybe it could be some sort of like crazy, maybe like white Tron with some sort of crazy
right
gain X life or something. Like, I don't know, right? But it's like a fireball effect that gains life. I'm sure that's been printed at some point. But anyway, like, I'm not saying it's never playable, but right now there's
oh no, yeah, I don't know a fireball effect.
I don't know. It's horrible, right? Anyway, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it couldn't ever see play in some crazy made-up future, but yeah, it's not good. You don't want this thing. It's not. Yeah. So So if the question that you're asking yourself is, in terms of Dominaria, Dominaria or don't Dominaria, don't Dominaria. This is not.
This is a don't Dominaria.
Don't Dominaria. That's what burn players should be calling this set. It's not. There's nothing for us. It looks like a great limited format. It looks like it's going to be good for standard. I'm excited. It looks like a really well-designed set, but nothing for us, unfortunately, in modern. And I don't think in legacy either. Like, there's just nothing. So, yeah, unfortunately.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up. Thank you very much, Andrew J2 Dryden, letting us know how these cards interact for burn in modern. So, thank you very much for watching. This has been Nikachu and Andrew J2 Dryden going over the Dominaria spoiler for burn.